She didn't win the trophy. She didn't even make it to the semi-finals. But by the time Alex left Rome, she had done something that no tennis player, not Federer, not Serena, not anyone, had ever quite managed to do before. She had walked into a foreign country, captured an entire city's heart, and moved the head of government to act. Not with a speech, not with a campaign, just with the way she played tennis and the way she carried herself when it was over. That's the story I want to tell you today, because if you only read the scoreboard, you missed everything. Let me take you back to Rome in the second week of May 2026, because the atmosphere at the Foro Italico was unlike anything the tournament had seen in years. The central stadium was a sea of Philippine flags, yellow and blue rippling across every section of the stands, and the chant of Laban Alex, which roughly translates to "Fight, Alex," bounced off the ancient marble statues that lined the grounds of one of the most beautiful tennis venues on earth. These weren't casual fans who had bought tickets on a whim. These were nurses who had worked overnight shifts and come straight to the stadium in their scrubs. These were caregivers, engineers, music, domestic workers, the Filipino community of Italy, tens of thousands of people who had left home and built lives in a country where they often felt invisible. And for 2 weeks, they had found something to gather around. They had found Alex. She was 20 years old. She was ranked 42nd in the world at the start of the tournament. She was not supposed to be the story of the Italian Open. But sport has a funny way of ignoring the script entirely, and Alex had been tearing up scripts her entire career. Her first-round match set the tone. She faced Magdalena Frech, the world number 45, and it was the kind of match that would have broken a less composed player. Frech is experienced, physical, and difficult on clay. She pushed Alex to 3 sets, and in the final set, she broke ahead, going up 3-1. The crowd held its breath. The flags stopped moving for just a moment. And then, Alex dug in. She saved 9 of 10 break points across that match. 9 out of music 10, which is a number that sounds almost impossible when you say it out loud. She clawed back from 3-1 down, won the set, won the match, and walked off the court to a noise that could probably be heard from the Coliseum. She followed that up with a straight sets win over the 31st seed, Music Wang Xinyu, which was particularly meaningful because Wang had beaten Alex earlier in the season in Auckland, a loss that had clearly stayed with her. There's something about watching an athlete go back and settle unfinished business with quiet, controlled aggression that just doesn't get old. By the time the third round came around, Alex had climbed from 42nd to 38th in the world rankings, simply from the points she'd earned in Rome. The Filipino flags had only multiplied. The chants had only grown louder. And then the door to the central stadium opened, and something happened that stopped every single person in their tracks. Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, the first woman ever to hold that office, the leader of the Italian government, walked in and sat down in the front row. Not for a photo opportunity. Not for a press moment. She came with her security detail. She found her seat, and she fixed her eyes on the court. No waving. No posing for cameras. She just sat down and watched. Music. Now, you have to understand what a strange and remarkable thing this was. Prime ministers of Italy do not attend tennis matches. Music. They attend state functions, diplomatic summits, and maybe the odd Serie A derby when political capital demands it. Music. They do not show up to watch a 20-year-old Filipino player in the third round of a clay court tournament. And yet there she was. Tournament officials scrambled. Photographers swung their lenses toward the front row. Music, and the crowd, which had already been electric, somehow got louder, because even people who don't follow Italian politics could feel that something significant had just happened. Alex was preparing to face Elena Rybakina, the world number 2. Rybakina is one of the most dangerous players on tour, a powerful, precise baseline player with a serve that causes problems for everyone she faces. Coming into that match, she had 29 wins on the season, the most of anyone on tour. Her serve was untouchable. Her ground strokes were clinical. And Alex, whatever her recent form, was still ranked nearly 40 places below her. The analysts had already written the result before the first ball was struck. They expected this to be competitive for maybe a set before the world number 2 pulled away and made it look routine. What they got instead was something that left the Prime Minister of Italy leaning forward in her seat and muttering to the person beside her. The first set was extraordinary. Alex was hitting the ball with a flat aggression that refused to give Rybakina any time to settle. She was stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball early. Music, redirecting pace down the lines with a kind of timing that takes years to develop on clay. She fired 13 winners in that opening set alone, her highest output in a single set all season. Rybakina, for her part, was even more clinical with 17. But the point is that Alex wasn't being blown off the court. Music, she was right there, point for point, trading with someone who had beaten players ranked far above her without breaking a sweat. And Maloney, music, sitting in the front row with the same focused intensity she probably brings to cabinet meetings, was watching all of it. She was heard telling the person beside her, "She's not afraid of her." The tournament official sitting nearby confirmed it. "No," they said, "she's never afraid." There was a moment in the 9th game of that first set that felt like it might shift everything. 5-4, and the crowd was tense. That specific kind of silence that falls when everyone is too nervous to make noise. Music. Alex had gotten herself to break point after the kind of grinding, lateral, exhausting rally that clay court tennis produces when both players refuse to miss point 12 shots, side to side, opening the court, waiting. Music. And then,